What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 10, episode 2, and the episode is titled I Am Kenneth. Y'all, let's go ahead and get into it because I'm sorry, Trisha be lying, and Ken them ain't your kids. But let's go ahead and get into it. We start this episode off with Ken and Trisha. They meet up with the Scotts, Kimmy and Maurice, right? So we start off fine until Trisha started lying. First of all, Ken is saying how him and Marquez, they had a good conversation, how things were looking up. However, he did some foul stuff. So Trish goes on to be like, yeah, he just barged into my house and, he came in with an attitude, all of this stuff. And I'm like, wait, did we not all watch this? And like I said before in my other review, I don't think that he just barged into her house. If he was dropping his daughter off, it's giving that his daughter had a bunch of stuff in her hands and he was trying to help his daughter get into the house. That's the vibe that I'm getting. Would you have rather he just sat in the car and you thought that this girl's brother picked her up and not her daddy? Because to me, for what I'm saying, I do feel like Marquez has a relationship with his kids and their relationship is kept from their mother. Because clearly, Trisha and Kid be doing too much. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when they got into that argument, she didn't even know that Marquez picked their daughter up. Okay? The fact that that man was able to have a conversation with his son and be like, oh, you know what, I'll pick her up. He goes to pick her up and also tell their son, oh, and then after I pick her up, I'm going to take you to get some food or something like that. All of that sounds like they already have a relationship. They already have a rapport. And on top of that, when they were arguing, Trish, it did not seem like you knew that your son was upstairs. Because keep in mind, when he told his dad to go ahead and leave, I think he came from upstairs. He didn't come from outside. So I'm just like, Trish, what's going on here? The way you tried to set this up and make it seem like Marquez was crazy, to me is giving your kids have conversations with their daddy and you're just not privy to them. And it's clear that they don't want you to know that they're having conversations with their father because this is how you act. But you know what? Let's go ahead and get back into it. Because Trish went on to say how Marquez basically had a chip on his shoulder, how he got into it with her friend, how he was talking to her all crazy. I'm sorry, your little friend, she was doing a lot. Sharon was doing a lot considering she don't know that man, ain't never met that man. Okay, jumping into a conversation she had nothing to do with. Like, be so for real right now. And then Ken, he's like, oh, because, I just had a conversation with Marquez telling him, what to do when it comes to having a conversation with Trish. Like, he needs to talk lower. He needs to not be so aggressive. I'm sorry. Have y'all heard Marquez talk? First of all, he talks very low to begin with. Secondly, aggressive? I would not say that he talks aggressive either. Like, who are they describing? I feel like we're describing Ken right now. He the one who forever put bass in his voice. Hell, Trisha was doing all that yelling. Okay, I cannot lie, y'all. It pisses me off that we have gotten to the point where people don't want, conversations and conflicts and arguments to lead to people yelling and all of that, right? Okay, cool. But why is it okay for Trish to do all that yelling, but Marquez is supposed to sit there and speak in a low tone? Why? I'm sorry, nobody should be doing all that yelling. Trish was screaming higher than he was. Like, be so for real right now. And like, Trish is again trying to get people on her side. So she's like, he's saying how he brought his daughter to the house. You didn't even know to bring your daughter to the house until Xavier told you. I'm like, do you hear yourself? You mean to tell me that in your mind, your son is the one who told him to go pick up his daughter and bring her to the house? Nah, I feel like he probably asked his son, oh, what you up to right now? He said, oh, I'm about to pick up Zaria. And he said, no, I got it. And he went to go pick her up, drop her off, and then they discussed how they gonna go get something to eat afterwards. Like, I'm sorry, but Trisha's giving delusional right now. Now, keep in mind, they are trying to get some advice, I guess you could say, from Maurice and Kimmy because they've been through a similar situation. But here's the thing, baby, this situation is quite similar because the same way that Marquez left Huntsville and went to Atlanta, that's no different than Maurice leaving Michigan and coming down to Huntsville, still not being that active of a parent. You see how that's a parallel? And what was he doing when he was in Huntsville? Living his best life. He told us, y'all, he told us he was living his best life. Monster was not a thought. So there was absolutely a time when Kiowa was raising Monster by herself. Because let's not forget, him and Kiowa made an agreement that once he hit a certain age, he would come stay with his daddy. Like, I don't even think Monster really visited that much if we really want to, call a thing here. So, I feel like there's more of a parallel between Maurice and Marquez than there is to give insight on how Ken feels and how she should feel right now. And like I've said before, a lot of times, men, they unfortunately, when they are going through a divorce with that lady, sometimes they do divorce the kids. I don't think it's always intentional, but I think for them to get their head right and get their mental together, they do have to take a break from the entire situation and then try to regroup. And I feel like Maurice did that, and I absolutely feel like that's what Marquez had to do. Because look at how him and Trish are like oil and water every time they get together. Every single time. Now, do I think that is right? Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, you still have these children in this world that are depending on you to be their father, to be their guidance, and you are completely MIA. Okay? But if your mental ain't right, baby, you gonna do more harm than good to those kids. Now, in his confessional, Maurice is like, they're going to have to co-parent for the rest of their life, so they need to try to get their situation together, right? So when he brings it up to them, like, hey, so you said that he wasn't active, but now he's being involved. And Trish is like, yeah, now. But it's like he's putting in the effort. He's trying to be involved. This man has said, yes, I have moved back to Huntsville. I talked to my kids. Now he's showing up. He meeting up with the kids. You still trying to find a problem. Instead of letting him step up, you and Ken want to hold this against him. You can't hold it against him anymore. You can't keep calling him a deadbeat. You can't keep saying that he's not around if he's present. Like, and I feel like Trish wants to hold this against him for the rest of the time he's on this show and probably for the rest of his life. But it's like, baby, if the trajectory has changed, it's changed. Like, you thought you was going to be able to pin this against him forever, and I'm sorry, but you can't. Because it's crazy to me how when Maurice had said, okay, so he wasn't doing anything then, he's doing something now, and the fact that she's like, yeah, I told him that was good, like, this was great. Girl, when you tell him that? Because as soon as that man hit the door, you had an attitude, okay? Because what you could have been is like, oh, I didn't know that you were going to pick her up today. Could you please run that by me next time you want to pick up Zaria? So I can get a heads up and know what's going on? That's how you should have said that. That's how you should have phrased that. But no, you wanted to go back and forth with that man because I feel like that's like some excitement in your life that you don't usually get. I don't know what's going on here. But Trish, be so for real about yourself. And y'all, when I tell you Kimmy had no advice, she had no advice. Because why did she tell them the key to getting along is getting along? Girl, get out my face. Get out of my face, Kimmy. Because at some point, y'all, then we have Ken. He wants to explain how all the kids and the teachers and all the administration at the schools, they know who he is because he's such an active parent. Sir, I'm tired of this. I'm exhausted. Every time that man talk about this lady kids, it's always how active he is as a parent and what he paying for. Sir, you fucking on a mama. That's what you should be doing. And here we have Maurice basically trying to tell them, at the end of the day, that's still their daddy. So what you gonna do about it? And I'm just like, again, y'all should know it to him about this situation because he's on the opposite side of it. He was the Marquez in his situation. So now you have kids saying how, yeah, them his kids, but at the end of the day, this is my family. When did this become your family? Because at the end of the day, you're not married to this lady. Y'all not even engaged. When you tried and attempted to try to put it in her even frame of mind to get married again, she wanted no parts of it. So, sir, you're just a glorified boyfriend. What are you talking about? And then out of nowhere, here comes Kimmy again, bad advice. I don't know what she's talking about. Yeah, because sometimes they don't want you to have a good relationship with the kids. Like, they don't want the step parent to come in and have a good relationship with the kids. I'm sorry, what, girl? What are you talking about? When did Kiowa ever have an issue with you having a good relationship with Monster? That was not your issue. Like, are we rewriting history and making things up as we go? Or are you trying to make your situation fit into their situation? It's not making sense. None of it. This whole conversation don't make sense. Y'all, we about to go ahead and move on because we gotta get to Martell and Destiny. They meet up at this furniture store. It's giving Habitat for Humanity, thrift store, whatever. According to him, he got to find some new furniture pieces, and Destiny come in saying she needs to find some pieces too because she just moved. He said, you moved where? This girl's like, oh yeah, because I just moved my space. Girl, you moved from one storage unit to another. What are you talking about? Y'all, I'm not sure if this scene played last season or not, where they get that little flashback of her in that workspace that she has, aka the storage unit, when Martell was helping her. But y'all, the way she was like, oh yeah, people are turning these into all types of different types of businesses. They do hair out of them and they make boutiques. Listen, girl, I get people got to start somewhere, but you are on a national TV show, Destiny. You should not be starting out in a storage unit trying to make it into a suite when you can just get a suite. Then have the audacity to say, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to open it up to the public or not, because right now it's just a workspace. Girl, what? So you're on a national TV show and you think that you're going to open Madani up to the public so they can come to a storage unit to get what? Some shampoo or a candle? Stop it. Destiny, stop playing in our faces. Like, you have got to be kidding me right now. And I know when we think about, like, Melody, she is packing orders all the time at her house, but she has a whole house to do that, okay? What I'm trying to understand is why Destiny just can't rent out a suite and make that be her office. Like, I just feel like, again, the entrepreneur stuff does not work for Destiny. She just needs a 9-to-5. Like, she's just an embarrassment. But besides that, y'all, Martell is saying how he's going to be moving Ariana and her children into his investment property. And I'm so confused because in the last time y'all met up, am I tripping, or did they make it seem like the investment property that he had was the one that she was going to help with the listing? As if they're trying to sell this property. Why would you move your baby mama in there if the house is listed and somebody buys it within 3 months? She would have to, like, move out. I'm trying to understand what the purpose of this is. But nonetheless, he also says that Ariana is marriage material. Y'all, I'm not even going to go in on that. Because at this point, I don't care about what Martell does with his life or what he does with Ariana. But let's go ahead and slide it over to Destiny, because he's asking her, like, so what's going on with Lance? Or at least what happened with you and Lance. And she's like, well, that just kind of fizzled out. Y'all, don't that sound the same way how her and Moses fizzled out? Y'all, I'm sorry, but Destiny is she not about to do this. She not about to give us the same storyline to where her relationship went south, but now she's still harboring feelings over something that ain't got nothing to do with her. Like, girl, you literally said y'all fizzled out. Y'all hadn't been talking in months, and you found out that he had a baby. So what? Y'all weren't even serious. So what else is going on? Also, why are you even checking out Lance? Destiny, go find you a man that's your age. Let's start there. But we gonna go ahead and move on, y'all. We gotta see Scott Banner. So keep in mind, the last time Maurice talked to his wife, he was saying how yes, Scott Banner has made so much progress. They got it going on over there. That's what Marcel is focused on. I'm about to say Maurice again. But when we got there, we saw concrete and rocks. Like, y'all low-key giving Sheba a charade, but I ain't gonna knock you because of the way Marcel describing how much work actually had to go into this, I ain't gonna knock it too much because he's like, they had to blast all this boulders and all this stuff just so that they can get the foundation right. So I'm not about to knock it. It sounds like it's going to be a huge, 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 huge house. And, I mean, that's great and all, but by the time that house is built, they're going to be empty nesters. So, is building this big old mansion really worth it? We'll see. I mean, I guess it's always going to be like a house that's in the family. But y'all probably going to be empty nesters, or your youngest child will definitely be in high school by the time this is built. Keep in mind, according to Tisha, they've been working on this house since 2019. It's 2025. And what's crazy is that they actually have the kids here in this scene so they can see, this slab of concrete and some beams up. And I'm just like, yeah, y'all showing them this house, but they ain't about to live in it because the house won't be done until they grown. Like, those kids will be off to college. But I see what you're doing. The whole time they talking, y'all, the only thing I can think of is how they bought this land and Kimmy wanted no parts of it. Y'all remember when Kimmy, she didn't want no house on that land. She didn't care about the land. She didn't want no type of property near Tisha and them. I get it now, because if this is how long it took for their space to get built, how long was it going to take for Maurice and Kimmy's house to be built? Child, please. But also on top of that, if this is how much work has been done since 2019 on this property, like I said earlier, I think in my last review, Marcel, you got to stop taking on all these projects when you can't finish one. Because he's still working on the other house that they have while they're staying in the house that they're supposed to be selling or renting out. Also on top of that, he's working on Jordan Lane, which is Kimmy's project, even though he swears that they can't get it together as far as Maurice and Kimmy. And I'm with Tisha. Why are you even listening to Maurice? This ain't his project. Listen to Kimmy, okay? Whatever she wants. But also at the same time, she wants her office to be done sooner than everybody else's. And I'm just like, I know that's right. If you're gonna be the wife, make sure your stuff is done first. Besides that, y'all, they ain't talking about nothing. Let's move on. Maurice and Marquez, they meet up to talk. Now, according to Maurice, he wants to get Marquez's side. Marquez, he starts off by saying how on the paperwork for the divorce, it said that they didn't have any minor children, but they do. And I'm just like, okay, so was this like a typo? Like, what's happening here? According to him, he didn't sign the papers. I'm like, oh God. So we're still holding up this damn divorce, right? Now, my whole thing is you definitely need a new lawyer. Maurice won't be it. Because according to him, he doesn't handle matters of the heart. Sir, you're not a divorce attorney. What the fuck are you talking about? But nonetheless, back into Marquez and his situation, he basically feels like, yes, he has to figure things out, for the best of the kids, but also him and Trish got to get it together because they don't get along. He tells him about the situation that happened at the house when he walked in and got into it with Sharon. And he's like, I have had a conversation with Ken, and I realized why she loved him so much, because he's just like her dad. He reminds her of her dad, and that was never me. I've never been like that man. And, he's okay with that. He's okay that he is not exactly like Trish's dad. Which, honestly, I'm not going to expect that man to be exactly like her father. I do think that it's interesting how some women, they do try to find a man that's exactly like their father. And, considering she dated this man since, high school? Girl, that would have been way too much luck for you to find a man that's just like your daddy in high school. Okay? Hell, I'm surprised y'all lasted as long as y'all did. But once we learned a little bit more, they were not supposed to be together. That man said that he realized in year one that maybe this wasn't the right decision. However, when his dad told him this ain't gonna last more than 5 years, he took that as a challenge. And he thought he really accomplished something by lasting 5 years. And then lasting 7 years. We made it to 10 years. We made it to 12 years. But he really should have left year 10. Like, that right there was probably his breaking point where he really checked out. However, he couldn't leave her at that time because that's where all of her family was going through all the things that they were going through. So at this point, Maurice is really trying to be a counselor, and he's just trying to figure out where did they go wrong and why aren't they divorced at this point. And basically, he's like, well, I'm the one who filed. And he's like, yeah, but don't she want to get a divorce because, she filed as well and Ken is in the situation. But according to Marquez, he basically gave Trisha to Ken. And if he wanted her, he could have her because she don't really want a divorce. Basically, she filed those papers because of Ken. And y'all, I can't even hold you. I don't think that he's lying. Now, do I think that she still wants Marquez? No. But there is something about having that connection and hold on him to be like, oh yeah, we still not divorced. She enjoys that. There's something off about her because think about it. According to her, when we met them, her and Ken, they had already been together for like 2-3 years. Something like that, right? So they've been together for a cool little minute. Girl, why haven't you at least filed separation papers? She didn't even file for separation. Okay? She knew that man packed up and moved to Atlanta. Been packed up. So I'm not understanding her. They were married for years. Over a decade. You know where all his family stay. I'm pretty sure that you could get in contact with him. So if you really wanted to divorce him, you could have. If you really wanted to file a separation, you could have. I'm sorry, y'all, but Marquez is making some sense to me because I'm not understanding why Trish wasn't the first person to file the papers, considering she had already moved on, been in a relationship with a man who clearly wants to marry her. Now, after that, Marquez is going on about how he feels like at some point he would love for, them to all get along to the point where they can even go on vacation together. Is he wishful thinking? Absolutely. But it's giving he trying to be like Will Smith and the Smith family. Because y'all know how they go on trips with Cherie. Is her Cherie or Sheree? Cherie. They go on family trips with Cherie. And Jada is there. The kids are there. Everybody's having a good time. Okay? But let's go ahead and move on. Now, in the next scene, we have Tisha. She's talking to her son, MJ, in the car. And it's his 18th birthday. And he's going away to college. And that's basically what they talk about. According to him, he's going to miss his dad more than his mom. Because I feel like at this point, he looks up to his dad. And like she said, they always have a good time with their dad. But she's the one who has to enforce the rules. I feel like when he goes away to college, that's when he's going to miss his mom the most. Moving on. Alright, so now we go over to Trish and Ken's house. And basically they talk about the fact that Marquez is coming over. And she also invited her friend Sharon because according to her, Sharon deserves an apology. I thought that already happened at the end of the conversation when they reintroduced themselves to each other. Did that not happen? Or am I crazy? Nonetheless, according to Ken, he basically feels like everything be going smooth until Marquez comes into the equation. And I'm just like, yeah, because y'all dynamics are off. So, of course, it's always going to be an issue. Also, you like to play like this man don't exist and he ain't them kids' daddy. And you are the big man on campus and you're raising those kids. Okay? But one thing that I found interesting is that Kid is basically telling her how, Marquez, he has his point of view. And he has some points, and we need to go ahead and listen to him, hear him out. And she's like, that's asking a lot of me. That's because you think that everything you say and do is right. And it's not, Trish. So next thing you know, there is a doorbell ring and Marquez just walks through the door. I said, no, sir, this is the time where you absolutely were in the wrong. But again, I feel like because we are filming a TV show, I'm not really caring because we already know that the film crew is outside, okay? The big trucks are outside. We know that we're filming a TV show right now. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. Alright, so when Marquez comes in, they try to get the conversation started, and he peeps that both of them have glasses in their hand of juice or whatever they're drinking. So he's like, oh, can I get something to drink? And of course, in her confessional, Trisha is like, see, this is the type of stuff that he does. And she's acting like he's requiring for them to like jump up and get him something to drink. And I'm just like, well, girl, both y'all have glasses in y'all head. Honestly, it's the common courtesy to be like, oh, hey, you just came in. You want something to drink? You want some water or anything? But because you hate this man's guts so bad, you would never offer him a glass of water. Alright, so now Ken is bringing up the fact that now they need to set some boundaries, right? And Marquez is like, you know what? We should, because I should have set some boundaries years ago when y'all first started talking. And here we have Trish piping up, oh no, we didn't need to do that because you were out of sight, out of mind. And reiterates it, out of sight, out of mind. I said, girl, simmer down. But also, he is very valid in what he's saying. If y'all were freshly dating, I'm sorry, y'all, it seems like Ken has been living with them for a long time at this point. It's not given he just a boyfriend who moved in 6 months ago. Like, if we follow the timeline that these two tried to give us, it sounds like he moved in the next month after they start talking. So, if we want to go ahead and set up some boundaries, then yes, it could have been a conversation of, I don't want whoever you're dating to be around my children unless we've already had some type of conversation and understanding, which is something that they never had. So after that, they talk about the fact that he just barged into the house. He said, okay, cool, we can set some boundaries. You know, I'll call first, all the things. What's next? What else y'all got? Because he can clearly see that they must have a rolling list of issues that they have with him. Now, as this conversation is going on, you have Ken trying to get his thought out, but what happens? Oh, the doorbell rings. So Trisha goes to get the door. Why is it her friend Sharon? I said, I know you fucking lying. Girl, why is Sharon here? Sharon don't need to be here. What are you talking about? She over here saying, well, you know, Sharon is owed an apology. I'm sorry, those two went back and forth with each other. He don't owe her nothing. Like, you being so extra, you want an audience. This is stupid. So, back over there to Ken, he's basically saying how, like, again, you came into this house and you don't live here. And Marquez explains what I already thought happened. Even on last week's episode, this is what I thought happened. He was walking his daughter into the house, and it's very clear that he must have been helping her carry some stuff in. But then he goes on to say, you know what? I apologize. And here goes Trish. You should have stayed on the porch. And he's like, well, you could have handled it differently. Again, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm on Marquez's side. She could have. But she did not. And like I said before, she could have easily been like, hey, Marquez, like, next time, just go ahead and call first. It's not that hard for her to say that. But she likes the conflict. She likes getting into it with Marquez. Now, at some point, this man goes over to Sharon. He reintroduces himself, apologizes to her, offered her something to drink, offered her a seat. I said, well, Marquez, you're doing a lot. Hell, you got more hospitality than these two put together. So, Marquez ends up asking, why did you demean me in front of this lady? Like, I don't know her. Like, why would you even do that? And she's like, there's no point in bringing up the past. I said, who was bringing up the past? Trisha, you are just pulling stuff out your ass at this point. Because you are the only one who brought up things in the past, remember? Because you said, yeah, because he just barged into our house. So you mean to tell me it's okay for you to mention that, but he can't mention how you were being disrespectful and telling your homegirl all this stuff about him, which all happened in the same day? I'm not about to play with you, girl. Like, she really works off of a double standard, and I cannot stand it. Because literally, this conversation happened in the same day. The same day that you was so pissed off that he barged into your house, your words, when really he just helped his daughter into the house, is the same exact day you felt like your friend got disrespected. So because Trish don't want to take no type of accountability, she goes on to be like, well, we need to just go ahead and get things figured out for the kids and keep it moving. Girl, what? So now she's saying that she don't care. Like, she don't care about nothing that happened that day, I guess. I said, no, you do care, because you want to tell the world that this man entered your house without your permission, right? That's what you want to say. But when he expresses how you did something that was wrong, you don't want to take no type of accountability for it. Girl, I'm sorry, I cannot stand Trisha. And it's crazy to me how she keeps repeating how she don't care about this. And it's just like, okay, so he's supposed to care about your feelings? Baby, it works both ways. Now, he says, Marquez, he's like, if you care about the kids, then you should care about this. AKA, if you care about the kids so much, then you should care about the fact that we don't have a good relationship. We are not even able to communicate on small things. And again, he's making sense. Trisha, you just want to have conflict with this man, and it's stupid. So at some point, Ken is trying to jump into the conversation, and Marquez does kind of throw a jab, and he's like, you're broken. Now, y'all, this right here is really where Ken pissed me off. First of all, I've been giving this man a side eye since we met him. But this right here blew my mind. This man gonna say, y'all gotta stop bringing up the kids, and then looks at Marquez and says, you gotta stop saying that the kids are affected when they're not. And Marquez is like, you don't know what type of conversations that I'm having with my children. So how can you say that they're not affected by the things that are going on between me and my ex-wife? Y'all, again, here we go with Ken overstepping, because Ken loves to do this. I'm with Marquez. You can't assure me anything about what my kids feel, what they're saying, anything like that. Let me tell you how we already know how those kids are super affected by the way they treat their dad. These two treat their daddy. Because in the last episode, we literally saw Xavier have to tell his dad, just go outside, go outside, right? And at this point, I feel like the reason why his reaction was to just go outside is that he already know how his mama and her boyfriend feel about his daddy, or how they feel about his dad. And he already knows that they don't fuck with him. So it's better for you to just go ahead and go outside, because this ain't gonna get no better. He's used to this. He's used to the way his mama be talking crazy about his daddy. And I'm pretty sure their daughter feels the same. I am pretty sure that man has had conversations with his children, and they have been able to express to him how they really feel, what they really think about Ken. And I don't even think it's on no malicious type stuff, because he trying to be cool with the man. But I just feel like those kids are walking on eggshells when it comes to Trisha. Because to me, it sounds like even if the kids were to bring up Marquez and be like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my dad, she would say something slick about it. She gives off that energy. So the fact that he's like, yeah, she be traumatizing the kids, I believe it. I definitely believe that she be traumatizing them kids. Because you cannot tell me that Trisha said anything good about Marquez to them kids. Baby, then out of nowhere, here comes Sharon trying to get some camera time. She trying to pipe up, oh yeah, because this right here, y'all relationship. Well, girl, it sounds like you on the same side of Marquez. This broken relationship is affecting the kids. Now, y'all, this is where things took a turn again. Because Marquez is trying to tell Ken, you can't tell me nothing about my kids. And Ken said, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. You want to know how? Because I'm active. I'm the active parent. I said, here we go again. One thing about him, he is going to throw it in Marquez's face that for the past, I don't know how many months or years, he's been the parent that stepped up. He's been the man who's been paying for everything. He has been just going on and on. And my whole thing is, if you know that the man moved to Atlanta, you know that he's not going to be 100% involved. So what are we having this conversation for? Anytime you have one parent that lives in a different state, they are not going to be 100% involved in them kids' life. Be so for real right now. Now, before things blew up, Marquez does say, Ken, it feels like we going backwards. I feels like we going backwards. He's like, no, it ain't. Y'all went hella backwards, okay? Baby, here go Ken. I'm telling y'all, I don't know when he thought of this, but he really thought he ate. But here's the thing, Marquez ate him up every time. Because he gonna say, those are your kids? Yeah, but this is my family. This is my family. Is it your family? Because you ain't even engaged today, mama. Sir, what are you talking about? So then Marquez, he hit him with, no, you're just the boyfriend to Trish. He ain't lying. That's exactly what you are. You are a boyfriend. You hold no power. If something were to happen to Trish right now, Marquez has to say, not you. So now this man is explaining what family is and all the things that he does for the kids. You know, he has to take the daughter to dance and he's always there for her performances. And I can't lie, in my mind, I'm just like, ain't you a trucker? How you got so much time to be at the house, first of all? And you say that you take her to dance and all of this stuff. It looks like that's Xavier's responsibility, not yours, buddy. But again, we want to circle back to the fact that Marquez, you're not involved. But now he's in the city, so he's trying to be involved. Y'all can't keep throwing that in his face. So then we bring up the competition thing, and he's like, oh, are you going to be at Zaria's competition? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be there. Now, at some point, Marquez gave Kid $500, I guess, for her competition. And when I tell you, Kid kind of made it seem like that was nothing, like $500 is chump change or something. I'm just like, well, how much money did y'all need? Because $500, that ain't just, chump change. So after that, Kid is like, you don't get no cool points for doing what you're supposed to do. Well, baby, why did Marquez hit him back with, you don't get no cool points for doing what you're supposed to do because you live here? Baby, truer words ain't been spoken. Listen, he ain't lying. You are living with a mama. Yeah, you should be involved in them kids' life. Like, what are you talking about? They're a package deal. So since they're a package deal, you got to do activities with the kids. I mean, Marquez ain't wrong. So now Kid is yelling out how Marquez needs to be real with himself and he needs to be accountable. What is he being accountable for at this point? Like, what are we doing right now? I feel like people have ran that term into the dirt, okay? Everybody swear people need to be accountable, and it's like, accountable for what? Accountable that your feelings, they not hurt, but you feel it away? Like, what are we talking about? So Marquez is like, no, Trish needs to be accountable. And I agree. Trish, you feel like you can throw stones and hide them hands. Because now you have these two men, what are they doing? Arguing. And I feel like you enjoy it. You're enjoying every second of this. So Marquez, he feels like, Trish, you need to take accountability. And at the end of the day, you're at the center of all this. All of this is happening because of you. Y'all, he ain't lying. Like, Trish, you are the woman in this situation. There is no conversation between Ken and Marquez really without you, because you the reason why these two men are even talking. Now, for some reason, Ken feels like Marquez is being disrespectful right now. And I don't feel like he's being disrespectful at all. I feel like he's trying to tell Trish, listen, girl, like, you got to be accountable for the things that you say, the things that you do. And you would think that he was cussing her out right now. And that's not even happening. Like, you would think that he was really dogging her the way Ken is like, I don't like the way he's talking to her. I'm sorry, everything is normal in this conversation. He is not even doing too much. Okay, so because they losing the argument, here goes Ken saying, you know where I was at today? I had to go to Alex's game. I said, who the fuck is Alex? Who is Alex? Their two children's name are Xavier and Zaria. Who is Alex? Is that your fake daughter's name? Because, you swear that that's your daughter, but you left that girl mama and y'all were never married either. So that's giving weird, sir. But I'm with Marquez. That don't faze me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. What else you got going on? So Ken's whole point is that he's the active parent and the kids have seen him. Not a phone call, not a text message. And Marquez is like, okay, and my kids have seen me. What else is going on? Again, he's eating them up because they cannot take the fact that they cannot hold it against him anymore, that he's not active in the kid's life. I mean, you can see it clear as day. Now, at some point, Marquez ends up bringing up the fact that he called the courthouse. They said they're waiting on a court date because, according to him, Trish put down that they did not have any minor children. Okay, same story that he told Maurice. However, she goes to get some paperwork. It was weird. She didn't even want to show him the paperwork, but show everybody else. But on her paperwork, it says one thing, and I don't know if it was a glitch in the system. I don't know. But either way, the real question is, y'all, are they divorced yet? Is Marquez and Trisha divorced yet? Oh, also, I want to circle back real quick because Ken is the one who showed Marquez the paperwork, right? Am I tripping? When he said them kids' names, why that sound like they had two different last names? Because he was like Xavier Burnett and what's the little girl named Zaria Reeves or something. I said, wait, why they got two different last names? Or is that the middle names? Y'all gave them poor kids last names as middle names? What was that? I was a little confused. Now, because Marquez was getting the best of them and they were in a fight for their life right now, Marquez looked like he got up because he was about to leave, okay? He done stood up and Marquez is like, you're going to sit down or you're going to leave. You're going to sit down or you're going to leave. So Marquez is trying to, I guess you could say calm him down at this point. And next thing you know, Ken gets up and the screen goes black. I guess he must have hit Marquez or something along those lines. Y'all, that is pretty much where the episode ended. For me, again, I think I'm on Marquez's side. I don't trust Trish at all. I think she is the epitome of a woman who likes mess going on in her life. But yeah, that was pretty much the episode. We saw none of the Fletchers, which is okay with me. Yeah, that was the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. What y'all think about this situation with Trish and Marquez. Oh, I guess and Ken. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.